We're recording on Wednesday this week, which is unusual, so we might be a day later on the podcast. Podcast? Podcast.
The podcast.
All right. Last night's Tuesday. I am in a hotel last night. I was at a conference.
Uh-huh.
And what comes on my TV?
Did you get chills with the old NBA?
The new old NBA music.
Old NBA
I love
music.
it. I love it that it's back on NBC. It feels like it belongs there because the NBA had its coming of age really on NBC.
Mm-hmm.
I guess CBS had it until the middle 80s. Anyway, so I hear the music last night, and I turn on. It's the Bucks and the Knicks. So I'm like, sure, let's watch some of this.
You got to see Giannis just go
Bananas,
completely bananas last night.
He's
He
unstoppable.
left his body for 2 hours.
He's like he's just unstoppable.
Yeah.
But anyway, breaking news: as the NBA returns to NBC, and they have their A-list announcer Mike Tirico doing the games. There's a gambling scandal in the NBA that cannot be ignored. And since we are a bet small, lose small gambling podcast, at least in part, I feel like we're going to have to talk about it.
We
this
have
week.
to talk about it. Well, how else can you? How can you not? First of all, we weren't involved.
No, we were not. Gosh.
We're not big.
We
enough.
don't have. We couldn't combine. We couldn't sell our homes and be involved in having.
We're not big enough players for that. But yeah, this thing it's a massive It's two scandals in one, and there's like X-ray tables and like rigged shuffling machines,
X-ray machines, glasses,
contact lenses that'll show you the marked cards.
But here's the most significant part of it. It's not that no one saw this coming. Everyone saw this coming.
Oh, this kind of stuff has been going on since at least the 90s, probably as far back as sports has been played.
But as soon as the Supreme Court reversed the ruling that had allowed so many states to outlaw gambling except Vegas, and gambling became much more commonplace. We have apps for that now.
Yeah.
In Kentucky, I don't know how many states it is, but several states.
Arguable, it's the backbone of this show that law changed.
That's exactly right. That was definitely the genesis of this show.
Yeah.
So we have a gambling scandal that everybody saw coming, but who is involved is the insane part. Chauncey Billups was a head coach of one of the NBA's franchises.
Also,
a Hall of Fame player.
A Hall of Fame player, Mr. Big Shot, the guy who was basically the head of the team, the Pistons team that took down the Lakers in 2008. 2008? I'll look that up.
Then you've got NBA journeyman Terry Rozier and a former coach and player Damon Jones.
Yep.
Who are also caught up in this in two different but sort of linked scandals. You've got the Mafia. The Mafia involved in these rigged poker games, but you've got guys that are betting unders on guys that they know are going to remove themselves from games.
That is crazy. I tell you what it is. It's like one of those. This week was where there was also the thing where the crown jewels were stolen from the Louvre, and it was like, you know how on Netflix you're watching something and it gets to the end and it's like, because you liked this, we think you like. It's like the world just said, if you liked Ocean's 11, you're really going to like the third week of October 2025, especially with all these names involved. Do you want to hear? I just want to read you a couple of these nicknames because this is straight out of like a Godfather movie or a Goodfellas or something. We've got Flappy, Spook, Black Tony.
Oh my God.
Terry Rozier was actually known as Scary Terry.
Okay.
We have Albanian Bruce, John South, Screwly. Like, these are all these nicknames. It makes me think that we need nicknames now.
I don't know if we need nicknames, but I'll tell you what. You know who's going out of business soon?
Who's that?
I'm sorry, The Onion, but you cannot beat what is going on in real life right now.
No, you cannot. We are just two middle-aged refugees from Generation X.
Man, we grew up in a time that was a lot simpler than it is today.
Could we gamble on sports back then?
No, not really. We did, but not legally. But now?
Now we can, and we can talk about it on a podcast, and we can talk about a lot of other things too.
And we're going to. I'm Lanny.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is Bet Small,
Lose Small.
Well, we have another week in which we hurt our own feelings with our bets. I keep thinking I'm going to get this. In fact, the one bet I cashed on the weekend was a catch-up on the Sunday night game, and I got I think it was Packers and over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You texted me about that while it was happening. And I said that's a great bet because right now it looks like the Packers are just going to curb stomp everybody in their path for the rest of the year.
35-25.
They finally showed up. The Packers finally showed up, put a complete game together, and they look pretty scary. They look like the best team in the NFC.
They look good
at this point. We had, really, in fairness, we thought we had some things figured out last week, and we, because about week 6, week 7, week 8, you start seeing who teams really are. And I thought for the most part we did a pretty good job. We were on New England.
I thought our analysis was good.
We were on New England. We were on Kansas City. We were on Buffalo and Tampa Bay. I had the Dallas-Denver over, which went way over.
Yeah.
But a couple teams screwed us, and this week it was the Bears that screwed us. We're going to get to that in a second. Atlanta all of a sudden did the bait and switch where it looked like Michael Penix was gonna play, and then all of a sudden Kirk Cousins is out there submarining his trade value.
It didn't look real good.
No, it was very bad. And Kirk Cousins is not going to get traded now. Remember that discussion a month ago?
Well,
Should the Bengals trade for Kirk Cousins?
Would you rather have Joe Flacco or Kirk Cousins?
Joe Flacco, who now has one arm because he's got a sprained AC joint in his throwing shoulder and is quote-unquote 50-50 to play for the Bengals this week.
Well, Carson Wentz is out for the year after looking like half man, half robot out there with his left shoulder, like literally broken. They had him in a sling from stem to stern, and
he was out there in traction.
He was
walking around with his arm just dangling with this.
Well, it turns
taped
out
onto his body.
It was dislocated, and there's a fracture in there.
Okay,
so I don't think Carson Wentz is a very good player, but my hat is off to that dude.
Yeah, for as many stories as you hear about no teammates like him at all, that dude's got a sack on him for going out there and playing
seriously
with
tough.
That injury. There's nothing that feels good about your shoulder being jacked up when you're playing in a football game.
The worst defense in the NFL belongs to my Cincinnati Bengals.
This is true,
and we're going to go into that later. They lost at home to the 0-7 Jets, and it's just one of those unforgivable losses.
We'll go into a little bit more detail about the Bengals later and the organizational failures that have been happening. It's time to start thinking about, do you just shut this season down? Do you just say, look,
if Joe Flacco,
don't bring Burrow back when he's healthy. You know what, Joe? You're actually not healthy. Just stay on the sidelines. We don't need to put the miles on you.
I agree with that. I think it's probably time to just call it done. Here's the only problem, and we know this from playing fantasy sports all these years and from playing simulated basketball. If you think you have a chance, and you're one of those folks that think if we can just get to the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Then it looks like someone's taken the AFC North, put all the teams in the AFC North in a bag, tied that bag tightly, and thrown it in a creek. They're all flailing and drowning.
It's just a bag of cats. That's just floating down the river.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because they're all seriously flawed, but someone has to win the division, and once you win the division, you get a home playoff game.
I'm going to look up the odds here on who's now favored to win that division. But we have to talk about, when we talk about our analysis, and look, we have been hit or miss a lot of the season. We did really well last week.
Couple weeks, I think we've found our groove. We just got unlucky on one game.
I think we figured some things out, but I called this last week. I was like, it's Tuesday. Lamar is still not done, has not had a full practice.
No.
The Ravens are probably going to get a pretty stiff fine for fucking around with Lamar's injury status because they listed him as a full participant on Friday. Although I guess he only practiced with the practice squad, which means that or with the second, whatever it is. He didn't practice with the starters, which makes him a limited participant, and that turned into Saturday afternoon, they ruled him out, and all of a sudden that line flipped from 9.5 to 1.5.
Yeah, he was a DNP.
So we had that game. I had that game picked. I had the one of my picks was Chicago. At the time, we had a plus 6.5. It went to plus 9.5 at one point because they listed Lamar as likely to play, and then it flipped and it went to plus 1.5, and yet the Bears still managed to shit the bed.
Yep,
and
not just a little bit, not a shart. It was a full blown catastrophe,
shitting, and they made I'm forgetting Tyler Huntley look like he was a poor man's version of Lamar Jackson. He ran for like 56 yards and a touchdown. He was throwing the ball all over the place. They scored 30 points. I don't understand what the Bears. If you're the Bears, that's a game that you have to win that game.
Yeah, that's one you see in your schedule before the season and think that's a 50-50. Mm-hmm. Once you got into the season, you think that's a very winnable game. I just want to go quickly down. Quick recap: the Vikings are who we thought they were.
Yeah,
the Vikings are who they thought we were.
Cross them off. They're a bet against.
Speak.
Yeah,
3-4. They lost 37-10, and that was the Thursday night game.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to the Falcons, but they're in the definitely don't bet on them again.
Kirk Cousins happened to the Falcons. That's what happened to the Falcons.
But for them to give up 34 points to Tua Tagovailoa.
Well, but when you're not on the field for very long with your offense at
home,
it was. Oh, I know. That was a game that they were. Atlanta was minus 375 favorites in that.
Mike McDaniel gets one more week.
Mike
Jets.
Mike McDaniel. Okay.
The Jets go into Cincinnati and get their first win of the season. By the way, the Bengals were up 2 touchdowns with 8 minutes to go.
It's that last drive was one of the most confusing things I've ever seen. They come into that drive with a minute. The clock starts on first down at 1 minute and 48 seconds left. They're down by 1. They have three timeouts,
and they need
which they never have.
They never have that
since the earliest days of Marvin Lewis. They have not had a coach that's been able to manage the game to a point where they would actually have an appropriate amount of timeouts left. And they had 3, and they left that game with 1. And they ran the ball on first down on their last drive.
Flacco ran off the field and went to the locker room right before that last drive. Yeah. I don't know what that was about.
Well, that's where now they're saying that he's got the injured shoulder, right. So it could have been that. But now to New York's credit, they had a perfect kickoff that went down like to the 1 yard line. Bengals run it back. Of course, their special teams is also kind of iffy. So they start on the 25 instead of the 35. But they still only have to go like 40 yards to get into field goal range. And
not even 40, like 35.
Yeah. And so they go run, pass for a first down, incomplete pass, run again.
Don't take the timeout.
And then 2 more incomplete passes, and they turn the ball over on downs, and they lose the game. It was unbelievable how badly coached, how badly called that last the sequence of plays was. They ran 5 plays.
Put it like this: had they won that game like they should have, being up 2 touchdowns with 8 minutes to go, they would be 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers don't look like they're very good. They're now 4-3. Deep sigh.
What's the Ravens' record now after they won this weekend?
They're like 2-5-1.
Okay.
Let me look. I'm looking.
No, they don't have the tie.
They don't have the tie?
No. They're like 2 and. Are they 2-5 now? They had their bye through 8 weeks, so they might be 2-4.
They're 2-5.
Oh, 2-5. Okay. Do you want me to read the NFC North division odds right now?
AFC North division odds.
AFC. What did I say?
That just go on.
AFC North. Cleveland, of course, is 30-1. Bengals are 6-1. Steelers plus 185. Ravens minus 125 to win the division.
That's
now
stupid.
Okay, I get it. Lamar's coming back. We think they're playing this Thursday night. They're playing this Thursday night again on against the Dolphins. The Dolphins who just came off stomping Atlanta on the road. But
we'll get
to that.
I don't want to labor this rehash too long, but
I don't understand why the Ravens why are they still a minus number to win?
I have no idea.
You should at least be able to get plus 125 on that. That's crazy.
I wouldn't touch it with a 10.
They are a heavy favorite to win that division. They're still 3 games back of Pittsburgh. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Buddy of mine at work is a big Browns fan. Now he's not. He's a young guy.
Send him my condolences.
Right. He tells me the other day the Browns are at least going to cover. The Browns are at least going to cover. And the Patriots haven't beaten anybody.
Yeah.
One of those statements is true. The Patriots still haven't beaten anybody, but they're 6-2. They beat the Browns 32-13. The Eagles look like the Eagles should have. They beat the Giants 38-20. Your Buffalo Bills all over the Panthers on the road 40-9.
I want to say one thing about that game.
Let's hear it.
They started off slow. They started off sloppy. They let Carolina hang around in that game for a good hour and a half. Going into halftime, they kind of put some distance between them and Carolina going into halftime. But leading up to that, the first quarter was really sloppy. There were stupid penalties. There were bad throws by Josh. The only thing that was really going right for them in that game was the running game. So James Cook had like 219 yards rushing or something.
Sometimes
like that.
That's what you just have to do.
Yeah. I mean, he was insane on Sunday, but I'm not as happy about a 40-9 win as I should be.
Okay,
let's put it that way.
Fair. I mean, I don't think Carolina's any good.
Okay,
but they're 4-4.
Right.
Aforementioned, the Bears shit the bed at the Ravens. The 49ers finally look like the banged up, backup quarterback helmed team that we have been saying they were for weeks, and they go to Houston and get the shit kicked out of them.
Is it now? In fairness, Houston has probably one of the 3 best defenses.
I think they have a very good defense. I still think they can. Well, I don't think they can win that division anymore.
Who, Houston?
Yeah.
No, I think Indianapolis probably has not quite run away and hid with that division lead, but it's pretty close. I mean, something serious would have to happen. Like all of a sudden, maybe Daniel Jones becomes Daniel Jones again.
I don't know.
But Jonathan Taylor has Indianapolis on his back, and I know that a running back can't win MVP, but Jonathan Taylor should be in the conversation.
The Colts Jones has been sacked the least amount of times of any starting quarterback in the league.
Yep.
And he can thank Jonathan Taylor for that.
Yes. 100%.
Because you just can't get a good rush on Jones because you're never in an obvious passing down. Then they just play action you to death. They're great at it.
Would you say that of everyone in that organization, whether it's Shane Steichen or whoever's the quarterback's coach or whatever, is Jonathan Taylor most responsible for Daniel Jones's resurgence out of everybody? Okay, because we know Shane Steichen is known as like a quarterback guru or whatever, but this is even a little much for Shane Steichen's powers.
I think Daniel Jones had talent. The question was never did he have talent.
Sure.
The question was could he put it all together?
Yeah.
But when you give a professional quarterback that has talent time to throw, and he's not under duress every play or every other play, and then you give him the best running back in the league, he all of a sudden looks pretty good.
Most quarterbacks are going to be good in that situation. I agree. These are the standings in the AFC South, by the way. Indianapolis is 7-1. Jacksonville is second at 4-3. Houston is 3-4. Tennessee is 1-7.
I think the Texans will finish ahead of Jacksonville, but I don't think they can catch Indy.
I agree.
And Indy has played some decent teams, but they, much like the Patriots, they have not played.
Yeah.
Okay. Schedule.
Do we want to go through our picks and just summarize those, or did we want to go through?
I'm just going to go quickly run through the rest of the games.
Okay.
Bucks 23-3 over the 1-7 Saints. The Bucks are 6-2. I don't know what to believe with them. They got that crap kicked out of them in Detroit, and that was because Detroit is good.
They're the best. They're the best bad team in the league.
The Broncos are also on fraud alert, but they managed to hang 44 on the Cowboys. Beat them by 20.
Who doesn't hang 40 points on the Cowboys? That defense is. If it wasn't for the Cowboys, the Bengals would have the worst defense in the league, and the Cowboys make the Bengals defense look kind of competent at times.
Well, what do those two teams have in common? They have an owner that thinks they should be the GM.
Well, that's true, and I think we're probably gonna scratch on that in a little bit.
Titans got dump trucked by the Colts, 38-14. Packers go into Pittsburgh and beat Aaron Rodgers. That made me laugh.
That's great.
5-1-1 Packers, maybe the best team in the NFC.
I think they probably are at this point.
And the Chiefs are they mess around for an entire half with Washington with Marcus Mariota. And Marcus Mariota, watching him is kind of fun because you never know what's going to happen.
You really don't know where
he threw this pass over the middle to this wide open running back.
I know what you're talking about.
And he threw it like a girl that had never seen football before threw it.
It was
a lollipop pass.
I saw it happen, and I was like,
"What was
did
that?
He mean to do that? Did he try to change his mind halfway through the throw? I don't really know what happened there. That was crazy."
Okay, so last week we made picks in our contest. I think I went over for the week.
No, you had one individual pick that hit.
Way to go, buddy!
But let's start with good on you, man. Hey, listen, it wasn't a total wash. All right. Gosh. And a lot of your bets, it was just one thing here or there.
Bengals hurt me. And then the
Bears,
Falcons and the Bears.
The Bears kicked your ass, the Falcons kicked your ass, and the Bengals. So I already mentioned earlier, I had Chicago at +6.5 and New England -7. And of course, we know what happened with Chicago. That one didn't hit. I had Atlanta, Cincinnati, money line plus KC -10.5. Obviously, Atlanta and Cincinnati. That was awful. And I'm just running through mine real quick, and then we'll do yours. San Francisco. I had a San Francisco money line, Giants +7, and Dallas, Denver over 50.5. The over was the only thing it hit there. The one that I did hit was a money line parlay of Buffalo, New England, and Tampa Bay.
Hey,
+131 because they were reasonably heavy favorites. So I won 46.2 pesos back on that on my 100 pesos this week. So I didn't lose quite as much. Are you ready?
Go for it.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You had this wild 7-leg parlay, and
we're changing up the strategy.
I marveled at the ballsiness of it at the time because 7. I mean, you get over 4 teams in a parlay. You're really asking the gods.
You start multiplying your multiples.
You're asking the gods to kick you straight in the balls.
Yeah.
But it was Cincinnati, Buffalo, New England, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Indy, KC. Now, in your defense, you were 5 of 7 on those. It was just we know what happened with Cincinnati, and we know what happened with Atlanta. But your +340 gambit on that did not pay off. You had 3 individual picks. You did get Buffalo. You took them an alt line of -4.5. They didn't. You probably could have taken them at the normal line, but what was that? So it was like -9.5 or something.
No, I thought it was like
was it 14?
-13 or 14.
13 or 14. Okay. Yeah. I mean that's always a scary number to to bet on. I mean, laying that many points is a little scary in any NFL game. So you got that. That brought you in 28.6 pesos. But then you had Chicago, San Francisco. Those are individual money line bets.
The moment we start to rely on San Francisco. Anyway, where are we?
Well, and then you had Buffalo. You had your Buffalo, Chicago, New England alt money line plus San Francisco or alt spreads plus San Francisco. That was a plus 668, which I really liked that when you picked it. I feel bad myself that you didn't hit that. Then you had Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Chicago.
Wreck.
And that I almost want to just pretend like you never did it. So now where we stand in the old contest is you are, let's see, I dropped a little bit. I was at plus 140.75 last week. I'm now down to plus 86.95. And your ass, it's not good, Lanny. You're 230 pesos under the line.
No problem.
You're underwater.
We got it. We got it this week.
You got it this week. You
get back to even.
Gonna get back. Okay.
Gonna get back to even.
Okay. Good. What do we want to talk about next? Do we want to do this deep dive on Cincinnati?
Let's take a break.
Okay.
And we'll come back and we'll do the deep dive on Cincinnati and make our picks.
You said that with despair in your voice.
Yeah.
All right, it's week 9. We've already given the update. Lanny's a little bit underwater, if I'm being kind.
Somebody's going to throw me a life preserver, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean it's not pretty on my side either. I've turned 800 pesos into 89 or so. So, not great, but you want to start with your picks?
Yeah, I'm going to do a different strategy this week. I'm trying to speak the language that is native to me.
It's been a rough one. Yeah, I mean, you listen, after that weekend, after that last drive against the Jets, I can't blame you, man. It's been a hard few days.
We're going to get to that in just a moment. My first pick is the Indianapolis Colts minus 162 and the Buffalo Bills. They're going to circle the wagons and beat those damn Chiefs. I've got 20. I'm going to do 5 two-team parlays this week.
Okay.
So Colts minus 162 and Buffalo Bills plus 114, which is an insult. That gets me to plus 246, and that's 20 pesos.
I will tell you one thing about this Bills-Chiefs game. Now,
game of the week.
It's absolutely the game. This is the Bills-Chiefs. The week of the Bills-Chiefs. We seem to have this every single year. It's the regular season game between these two teams that will completely alter the conversation about the AFC for the rest of the season, and it will ultimately not matter once the playoffs come around.
Not much, but it's a chance for one of the teams to put a stamp on the other one.
It's true. I think this line is fair. I think based on how the Chiefs have been playing lately and the Bills, this is what's going to happen with the Bills for the rest of the year. They're going to have that Atlanta and the New England loss at home hanging over them. It's going to follow them around like a fart in the grocery store. Okay, you're not going to be able to get away from it the rest of the year. That's always going to be sitting there. That they have the potential to get blown out by inferior teams, which I'm not even really sure that the Patriots are inferior at this point. But
I don't think so either. But go on.
And they've got their, like we talked about before, they've gotten some of their defensive. They got a couple guys back on the defensive line. Deion Walker, their rookie from Kentucky, has been playing well. But they got all these guys back, and Ed Oliver almost immediately tore his bicep and is going to miss probably the rest of the season.
Probably so.
So their defense is still banged up. I think this line is fair, and I think historically speaking, in the regular season, the Bills just kind of own the Chiefs, especially at home. So I think that line's fair, and I cannot blame you at all for taking Buffalo at plus.
I'm taking Buffalo because they're at home.
Do it. I think that's a safe bet. Well, nothing's really safe in Bills.
Not right now.
But and the Chiefs have been playing better lately. That's the thing, is that it's fair for the Bills to be. I mean, they're only 1.5 point underdogs at home. It's not like this is a huge a huge discrepancy. Chiefs are minus 134 favorites. I mean, it's more or less a modern day pick 'em at this point. Go ahead and do another one of your picks, because I've only got 4.
All right, I've got a 2-leg parlay again for 20 pesos. Mm-hmm. This is the Baltimore Ravens minus 450 and the Green Bay Packers minus 1,200, which gets me to minus 309. So for 20 pesos, I'm going to drag back like 5, but sometimes you do that.
Did you say minus 1,500?
Minus 1,200.
Minus 1,200.
And minus 450 for the Ravens, which is a minus 309.
Look, you can turn your 20 into
26.
26.
Go on.
Okay. Let me go ahead. Now I will just say Baltimore's playing on Thursday. I applaud your ballsiness for betting on a Thursday night game.
Never has looked so bad, the ballsiness.
And we also assume that Lamar Jackson is going to be playing on Thursday.
That's what we think.
They're saying all the right things so far, but
which is tomorrow. Thursday is tomorrow.
And I've got to say, I called him the Kawhi Leonard of the NFL last week, and I'm really I'm disappointed in you all, our TikTok fans out there. You should have gotten a lot more mad at me for saying something like that, because that is absurd. My first pick, I've got New England minus 5.5. And the under on Denver Houston. Now New England is 5.5 point favorites over the Falcons, who I think the Falcons are on the verge of falling apart.
Cashing it in.
Yeah. If Penix doesn't play, this line is probably going to jump to like minus 7.5, minus 8.5. So we'll find out there. Denver and Houston, that's 2 of the best 3 defenses in the league. Facing off against each other. The over-under is 39.5, and I don't think that game gets to 40 points. I think it's going to be like a 2017, 17-13, 16-10 kind of game.
So you think it's going to be a slobber knocker?
I think it's going to be a slobber knocker. And it is in Houston, so you don't have to deal with the Denver, the altitude or anything like that, or the weather. But that is going to be a defensive battle, especially when you've got Bo Nix, who the hell knows what that guy's going to do. And, of course, C.J. Stroud, who looks like he's regressing on a week-to-week basis. So that's plus 256, and I'm putting 20 pesos on that one.
All right, I've got another 2-leg parlay for 20 pesos. I have the New England Patriots minus 240 and the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers de Los Angeles, they are at the Tennessee Titans at minus 460, and that's 20 pesos. That gets me to minus 138 on that one.
That's not bad.
That's okay.
I like it.
We're trying to do a little safer bets this week.
Yeah, Chargers, I mean, the New England's the one that screws that up, right? If they just kind of lay an egg, and I
you never know.
Yeah, I guess you never know. You never know. My next one is L.A. Clippers and
L.A. Clippers.
L.A. Chargers. I saw LAC. San Diego Chargers.
The Chargers de Los Angeles.
You just said it. Chargers minus 460. Indianapolis minus 162. They are at the Steelers. I think the Steelers are also on the verge of falling off a cliff. And I'm taking Detroit minus 510 with the Vikings coming to town. They're actually up to minus 500 now, but when I made this pick earlier today, it was minus 510. So we're going to go with that. That's plus 135 for that 3-legger, and I'm putting 20 on it. What do you got?
Another 2-team parlay for 20 pesos. The Giants of New York at plus 128 hosting the San Francisco 49ers. Mm-hmm. Traveling all the way across the country with who knows who at quarterback. And the Rams de Los Angeles hosting the worst team in the league, the New Orleans Saints. That's minus 1150. The Giants are plus 128. This 2-leg parlay is plus 147.
That's actually better than it was earlier. It was minus, I think it was minus 1200 earlier today.
Double your money, move on.
What was your total on that?
Plus 147.
Plus 147. That's actually pretty good for having an 11-1 favorite in there.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got another 3-legger here. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is not a 3-legger. These are three individual bets.
All right.
I've got Dallas minus 2.5 over at home over the Arizona Cardinals on Monday night. That's minus 118.
That's an interesting game.
I'm
not a big Dallas fan, but I think it's an interesting game.
I'm confused by this line.
Okay, why?
Why the Cowboys are only giving 2.5 on Monday night at home to the Cardinals, who are like actively looking to trade away anybody that they can on their roster at this point. I don't understand. Shouldn't the Cowboys be laying? Shouldn't this be more like that minus 4.5?
Oh, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say about 4.5.
Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, unless they're just...
There's another podcast that does guess the line. So
yeah, I guess they're just saying... Yeah, I guess they're just saying the Cowboys' defense is so bad that the Cardinals can hang with them. But I don't see it.
I don't know.
Cowboys are going to come home after getting spanked in Denver and only win by 3? I don't know, man.
I don't know that the Cowboys have the fortitude or the leadership anywhere on that franchise that would make them come home and say, we're going to kick the shit out of whoever's next after what we just did in Denver.
Well, you're familiar with... Oh, I just clouded up your screen there. You're familiar with my dislike and distrust of the Dallas Cowboys, so I agree with you. But also, this line is just funky.
You have a serious distrust of Kyler Murray and the St. Louis, Arizona, whatever Cardinals.
St. Louis. Don't get me started. I'm already struggling with San Diego Chargers. All right, I'm also taking Buffalo. That was one of my first single picks there. 15 pesos on Dallas minus 2.5 at minus 118. I'm taking Buffalo money line plus 108. 15 pesos on that.
I think Buffalo at home is getting points at home is great.
The Buffalo. We said this just a few minutes ago. Buffalo typically owns the Chiefs during the regular season under Josh Allen. That's just the way it is, and it doesn't mean that It doesn't mean that the Bills are better. It doesn't mean that the Chiefs are in trouble or that they're. It's just the Chiefs come to Buffalo regular season, especially in the middle of the year, when there's not really any critical playoff implications yet. It's just the Bills. I like the Bills in that spot. Their defense is getting a little bit better. They can run the hell out of the ball. So I'm taking them money line there, and that's 15 pesos. And then I'm doing Rams. I took them. Now Rams were heavy favorites. You just had them at a minus 1150 because they are heavy favorites over the Saints at home. I don't like the minus 14, the 14 point number.
No, of course not.
But I took an alternate line of 9.5, and that got me to minus 210, which I was comfortable with, and I put 15 on that.
All right. My last pick is another 2-leg parlay. It is the Detroit Lions minus 500 hosting the Minnesota Vikings, and the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Washington at minus 172, and the total for that parlay is minus 112.
That's nice. I like the Seahawks.
I do too. And the Sam Darnold curse is not following, apparently.
Washington. Oh wait, explain. What do you mean? Is Sam Darnold not playing? What do you mean?
No.
The Sam Darnold curse isn't following.
Well, he's actually playing pretty well in Seattle.
Dude, it's week 9. Sam Darnold's got plenty of time to become Sam Darnold again. Trust me on this. It is not over. Sam Darnold still has it. Sam Darnold still has Sam Darnold in his back pocket.
What is it?
Trust me.
Tobias Funke was never nude. You are never Darnold.
The man inside me. Sam Darnold is in Sam Darnold someplace. I'm telling you right now. And Washington, I think that's Washington is like they're getting close to pack it up time. Like at some point you have to say this isn't happening this year. We had some magic last year with Jaden Daniels as a rookie, but our team is really old, banged up. We're in this division with the Cowboys and the Eagles. Like we're not getting into the playoffs. So let's just pack it up. keep your young quarterback healthy, and let's move on to next year and try to rebuild around him because that's just they're losing and they're looking bad doing it. That brings me to my last pick here. It's 3-leg parlay of now. This is the one I took. I took some risks. I took the Giants money line plus 128.
That's a risk.
At home. Well, it's at home. It's a 1:00 game with the 49ers coming east. You went the other way on this on one of your picks. Oh no, I'm sorry. You went Giants plus 128.
Yeah, I went Giants.
Stanford because it's over San Francisco. So that's a little risky. Scattaboo
leg pointing the wrong direction.
Yeah, suffered a Gordon Hayward on Sunday, which was pretty gross. But I still think the Giants, they've got enough swagger to beat this 49ers team that looks like they're teetering on the brink. So I've got them plus 128. Pittsburgh, I'm taking Pittsburgh plus 3 against the Colts. Now, I took Colts money line earlier, but I'm taking Pittsburgh plus 3 because I think at home they can keep this close.
Trying to middle it
a little bit. I managed to do this earlier in the year.
Okay.
And then I'm also taking Cincinnati plus 130 at home for the Bears.
Jesus Christ.
And the only reason I'm doing this is because it gets those three together get me to plus 923. Okay. So I'm putting 15 on that.
Did you not see the Bengals collapse? Okay, those are our picks.
Those are our picks for the week.
And now we're going to start on the Bengals.
Yes.
This is for my pal Mark Slaughter, who is a longtime sports photographer in Cincinnati. Shout out to Slaughter, who is he's 6'5" in real life, and he is also the biggest troll I know.
Mark, put the phone down for a minute, okay, buddy? Just for one Sunday.
We love you, Slaughter. I got to tell you, Slaughter, I have to agree with you right now. I'm so sick to death of being a Bengals fan. So Andrew did some work with me this week. Andrew looked at some of the drafts.
It was mostly therapy work, but we try not to make this podcast too because Lanny's a Bengals fan and I'm a Bills fan. We try not to make it too Bills and Bengals centric, but this week, that game against the Jets it opened some
just
scabs.
Absolutely egregious.
Some stitches came out this weekend.
They were up 2 touchdowns with 8 minutes to go. They were up more than 2 touchdowns at halftime.
Yeah.
But when you're up 14 points with 8 minutes to go.
Against the 0-7 Jets, by
against
the way.
The team
this is not like they blew one to a feisty Chargers team or Steelers or whatever. This is the fucking New York Jets, man.
So Bengals organization, this is directed at you, specifically to you, Mike Brown. Hire a GM. Hire a GM to run your team. Please, please, please stop being the Jerry Jones of the North. I just want to go over the Bengals defensive rankings since 2010. Okay, so this is 15 years of evidence.
Preach, son.
On defensive rankings. In this time, we've had the entirety of Andy Dalton's career and a top 3 quarterback in the league, and we had just come off the Carson, whatever his name. God, I can't even think of his name.
Carson Palmer.
The Carson Palmer experience.
I was going to give you a second, but
thank you.
You were about to say Wentz, and then I was going to have to make fun of you.
The 2025 Bengals are 32nd in defensive ranking. This is total yards allowed.
Oof.
The 2024 Bengals were 25th. The 2023 were 31st. 2022, 16th. 2021, they went to the Super Bowl that season.
Mm-hmm.
18th. Lost the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
2020, 24th. 2019, they were 29th. 2018, 30th. 2017, 18th. 2016, 17th, 2015, 11th, 2014, 22nd, 2013, they were 3rd, but who was their quarterback? Andy Dalton. 2012, they were 6th, 2011, 7th. This is when...
6th and 7th in defense a couple of years.
Yeah, 2012 and 2011.
I see. Okay.
In 2010, they were 12.
Yeah.
12.
Okay.
That was wasn't that the, I'd have to look it up, but I believe that was the Vontez Burfict Pac-Man Jones era.
Yeah. That was a good defense. They had a good defense.
Do you know why? Because they got a first-round player with a non-draft. They didn't even have to draft Vontaze Burfict.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's an idiot.
Yeah, he's an insane person.
And so is Pac-Man Jones.
He cost the Bengals how many playoff games did he cost? He cost the Bengals at least one playoff game.
Let me tell you another organizational failure of the Cincinnati Bengals. Mm-hmm. Marvin Lewis was the coach in Cincinnati for 16 years after winning a Super Bowl as the defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, you can point to Marvin, in fairness, when you're talking about those top 6 or 7 defenses, possibly.
Do you know how many playoff games Marvin Lewis won in Cincinnati?
Oh, he didn't win any.
He won 0.
0, yeah.
So the organization stuck with a man for 16 years that produced exactly 0 playoff wins. They actually won the division, the average number of times. They won it 4 times.
4 times in 16 years, yeah.
But they did not produce a single playoff victory under Marvin Lewis.
Well,
this is an organizational failure that has gone on not for a few years, not for 20 years, for decades. They've been to 3 Super Bowls. They went behind Ken Anderson and lost to the 49ers and Joe Montana the year of the catch. They went when I was 14. Now, you had the great pleasure and pain of watching your Buffalo Bills go to 4 Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah, lots of winning. Lots of winning for us, though.
Lots of winning.
Yeah.
The Bengals, however, the year after they went to the Super Bowl, it was the 89 Super Bowl. It was the 88 season. They went 8-8.
Okay.
That was the Sam Weiss era.
Sam Weiss, I remember being a pretty damn good coach, though.
They had Dave Shula. Mm-hmm. They had Bruce Coslett.
Ooh, those were dark times.
They never had a GM. Duke Tobin is their player personnel guy.
How long has old Dookie been there?
More than 30 years.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
Between 25 and 30 years, but I'll have to look it up.
So conservatively speaking, he's probably in his 60s.
Yes.
Okay.
And they still don't have a GM because the families want to remain in control. Here's the other thing. They don't spend enough money on player personnel. Now, give the Bengals this much credit. They have won consistently in the Zach Taylor era.
This is true. Yeah.
They have won consistently.
Yeah.
But they have won because Joe Burrow is one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks of his era.
I would agree with that. Well, one of the things that I think, one of the issues with the Bengals, when you go back and you're talking about going to Super Bowls with Ken Anderson.
Yeah. One of the best quarterbacks of his era.
Winning, for 16 straight years, winning 4 division titles with Andy Dalton. It's like they can put one thing together really well. Like when you had Ken Anderson, you also
Carson
had
Palmer was in there with Marvin Lewis.
Carson Palmer was in there, yeah. So, yeah, but Carson Palmer, of course, notoriously wanted out because the organization was a dumpster fire, and he was unhappy with what was going on. And unless I'm remembering that story incorrectly, he wanted out of Cincinnati.
He definitely wanted out of Cincinnati. This will sum up the Cincinnati Bengals organization for anybody that's watching. Cincinnati Bengals have a number of players in their Ring of Honor. They have Boomer Esiason, who has a radio talk show every single day. Boomer goes on his radio show and says the Bengals have asked him to come back and be part of it, be honored at one of the games this year. I don't even know if Boomer ended up going. I have not looked that up. He talked about this a few weeks ago. Boomer and the rest of the players that were invited were expected to pay for their airfare and their hotel. They had reserved a block of rooms for them at a discounted rate.
You are kidding me.
This was in an email to Boomer Esiason. He read it on the air. They were not. They invited their Ring of Honor inductees, and we're not going to pay for their travel or hotel.
If I'm Boomer, I'm not going.
I don't think
I'm like.
I don't think he went.
What are you talking? What are you talking about?
So this is the Cincinnati organization in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
They're cheap. They don't spend money where they need to spend money, and they refuse to hire a GM. And as a Bengals fan, after watching the 0-7 Jets come into the jungle, come back from 14 down due to an organizational failure to put a defense on the field that's in any way competitive, I'm sick.
I'm not sure what's more insulting, whether it's asking one of your possibly your greatest quarterback in franchise history to this point.
Maybe most well known.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, Joe Burrow is going to pass Boomer, but before Burrow, Boomer was the man.
Well, Ken Anderson is their passing leader.
Yeah,
still to this day.
Yeah, but people remember
completely different era.
But people remember Boomer.
Absolutely.
People remember
in Cincinnati, Ken Anderson is remembered, but he's pushing 80.
But I don't know what's more insulting if it's asking Boomer to pay for his own hotel, or sending him an email saying, "Hey, buddy, we got you a discounted rate." Like.
Boomer
doesn't need to save $60.
He can afford his own hotel. That's not the point.
He doesn't need to save $60 on a Holiday Inn Express. Like,
pay for their travel.
It's amazing.
Send them to the nicest restaurants in town.
Oh my God.
For at least a couple meals, and put them up in the nicest hotel.
That's amazing.
It's the least they could do.
But you know what? It tracks. It tracks.
It does. And as a Bengals fan, watching that defense collapse on Sunday was just. It was not the final nail in the coffin, because that's not the nature of this disease, but it was just another reminder that it's never going to change until the ownership does.
Well, I might have a little bit of hope for you. Now, I started digging. We talked earlier this week when we were kind of coming up with the idea for this segment about going through the drafts, because a big part of the problem, as you mentioned, is Duke Tobin. Like, they don't have a GM, right? They have a player personnel guy who. Really, his best picks have just been guys that they fell into and in the first round, and Vontaze Burfict, right?
Chase and Burrow.
I mean, T. Higgins was a little bit of a savvy pick, but for the most part, their drafting hasn't been great. And you complained earlier in the year when Burrow got hurt, it was like, start drafting offensive linemen. Put an offensive line in front of this franchise quarterback who should be a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the league. So we didn't want to dig into the whole draft, but I went back and looked just at offensive linemen that they've drafted since Burrow has been there. Now, Burrow was drafted in 2020. Mm-hmm. Since then, in that same draft, these are offensive linemen. These are all the offensive linemen that they've drafted since 2020.
The offensive line is another problem.
The offensive line is a big problem. 2020, they drafted Hakeem Ademaji in the 6th round. He started 15 games for them over 2 years. And then he spent 2023 with Minnesota, and 2025 he's now playing as a backup for Dallas. I think he's actually started a few games there, but
journeyman,
yeah. 2021, they actually started investing in the offensive line a little bit. They picked Jackson Carman in the 2nd round.
Not on the team.
He is out of football. He's not just not on the team; he's out of football. 4 years later, Jackson Carman
is
not playing football anymore. They drafted Deontay Smith in the 4th round. He made 1 start for them and was cut in 2023. They drafted Trey Hill in the 6th round. He started 3 games, and he is now out of football. 2022 was a bad year for offensive linemen. There were not many offensive linemen that even went in the first 2 rounds. They did draft Cam Taylor-Britt and Dax Hill. They used their 1st-round pick on Dax Hill, who's been a decent defensive back.
Yeah, I mean those guys are at least on the team.
Cam Taylor-Britt is a pretty good. They're pretty good. They're not great. No, and I mean that was the year that they were coming off the Super Bowl appearance, so they were picking late in the 1st round. So no offensive lineman that year in 2022. 2023, this is where it starts to get frustrating. No offensive lineman taken in the draft in 2023. Now, I get that they've spent a lot of capital on defense. They also drafted 2 wide receivers in 2023 when they already had Chase and Higgins. 2024, they spent their 1st round pick on Amarius Mims. Now, Amarius Mims has been a pretty decent offensive lineman. He started 15 of 17 games last year, and he's been their starting right tackle this year. However, worth noting, they did not draft any other offensive lineman in 2024. And Amarius Mims is a right tackle, which is great, but you need a left tackle. You don't necessarily. I mean, maybe Mims will be able to slide over to the left at some point.
They got the guy from the Chiefs.
Yeah,
but But here's another thing: is there a 2020? We don't have a 2025 draft yet.
I have. Well, yeah. This is the draft that they just.
All right.
had.
Who's
okay? They drafted Dylan Fairchild in the third, who is considered to be possibly a steal. And he's started a few games. He started several games this season. They also drafted Jalen Rivers in the fifth, and he started the last 5 games. Now, those were both guards. So if you're looking at it from an optimistic standpoint, in the last 2 drafts, you've gotten a pretty good right tackle and a couple of steals at guard. So are they totally hopeless on the offensive line? No. They've got some young talent, but one of the other questions is about their offensive line coach, who apparently likes to teach MMA techniques to the offensive linemen instead of actual offensive lineman skills.
Well,
I'm going to look up his name because he was a former Patriots coach, former Patriots offensive line coach. He was under, I think he was under Belichick, and then he was under their coach who only lasted 1 year last year before being replaced by Vrabel. And when you go to Patriots Reddit and see Bengals fans asking the Patriots how they felt about this offensive line coach, they were like, "We're glad he's gone," because he was teaching. He was not doing a very good job with the offensive line. But there's hope. And I would say if you're the Bengals this year, maybe think about just leaving Burrow on the bench, calling this a gap year or a red shirt year for him, and starting back over next year. See how this offensive line develops a little bit.
I'm looking at the Bengals' greatest free agent pickups in franchise history. Trey Hendrickson, who was a defensive end that was a little overlooked, has become one of the most impactful defensive ends. And they had that big brouhaha in the offseason. They did get Von Bell, a safety that was back in 2020, so that's like a long time ago in football years. DJ Readers, same thing, back in 2020.
Yeah. Not terrible pickups.
No, but
not the thing that's going to transform you from a bottom feeder defense to even the middle of the pack 18th ranked defense that you went to the Super Bowl with.
Look, this is an organizational failure. And as much as I don't like being trolled week in, week out for being a Bengals fan, I understand the why on it now. And I'm just now like having to open my eyes and see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to take a break. Bengals, stop sucking so much.
Scott Peters is the name of that offensive line coach.
There you go.
Not a lot of fans of his.
Little weirdo.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to take a break, come back. If you are on social media, and if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or if you are on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, please give us a like and a subscribe. We'd appreciate it. If you're seeing this, we're trying to up our game on followers, and we appreciate all of your feedback, people coming in our comments, all those kinds of things. We love it. We love the interaction. We like it when people say anybody can buy a microphone. That's funny to me. It is. It just is.
We need more mean comments. We have to at least have monthly read back mean comments.
But anyway, thank you for your interaction. Give us a like, a subscribe, and a follow, and we'll be right back.
All right, before we get into last segment of the week, you and I had the pretty cool experience of shooting and producing a music video.
When did we start that project? Like May of last year.
So Tiffany, shout out to Tiffany Nesbitt, my sis from another miss out there. She's actually, I found out she's a big fan of the show. Watches every week.
We're glad to
It was like, what do you don't know anything about sports, and you definitely don't know anything about gambling. She's like, well, it's a good show. we talked about this. It was not. Let's see. We're in 2025. It was December. It was like October, November, December, sometime of 2023 that we got together and started talking about that video.
So yeah, we shot a music video for her original song "Beautiful Drug," which had won a Josie's Award in a subcategory for Song of the Year, in 2023. So we shot a music video for it, starting back in the summer last summer. We shot in 85, 90 degrees, and poor Tiffany was pouring sweat.
We shot for like 8 hours on one of the hottest early days of the year.
Yeah, it was.
And we used almost none of that footage.
Almost, yeah. I'm trying to think how much survived in the. I don't think any.
It wasn't much. It was like some of the Jeep shots, maybe
a couple. The opening shot in the video is shot there.
That was at the end of the day when the sun was going down.
And that might be the only shot that survived.
Yeah.
So we shot for a whole day. Decided we didn't like any of it. Then we shot all the way until September. I think we shot the last scenes at the farm, and
it went on for a while.
September, we were just like, we weren't happy with it. We watch it, we do an edit, and we watch, and and then we finally got it right. Yeah. So she's up at the Josie Awards, which is coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, this Sunday, Josie Music Awards in Nashville.
Yes.
Sunday night. It's one of the big, sort of a regional country. It's a Nashville centric
independent music
awards. Yeah,
she's up for Best Actress in a Music Video.
Yes, and the video itself is up for Social Impact Video.
Social Impact Video of the Year.
And if you're interested in knowing why it's up for that, go to Tiffany Nesbitt. It's Tiffany with an EY at the end.
Go to her YouTube.
Go to her YouTube. Look up "Beautiful Drug." That's the video that we worked on. Lanny did all the shooting and directing, and I basically just corralled.
No, don't show.
I kept Tiffany. I basically mopped
you were
sweat
talent
and tossed
relations.
Her water.
Talent relations.
That's right.
The shoot could be a whole movie all by itself.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
It's funny how that ended up working out. But we're excited. We are very hopeful that she's going to win Best Actress. Some of the videos in our category are like really insanely. We did this on a zero budget, just like this podcast.
Yeah. We have more of a budget for this podcast than we had for that.
But we had a zero budget on the music video, and to be even nominated in some of this category with all these very highly well produced videos. It's just, we were glad to be nominated.
Yeah,
but I think she could actually win best actress.
Yeah, I wish we could have gone. Neither of us could really make it this weekend, but she'll be there. If you're going to the Josie, if by some chance you're a person who's going to the Josie Awards in Nashville, give Tiffany a shout out. Tell her we said hi, and it's from what I understand, it's a pretty fun weekend. So do we want to talk about? Let's see.
We're going to talk about the NBA gambling. Case.
We touched on it a little bit at the beginning. And look, we're recording this week on Wednesday. This will probably be published Thursday morning. So by this point, a lot of people have already talked about this. But there are some other perspectives that we can talk about.
I want to bring it into our lane, so to speak. We're not NBA bettors all the time. We will occasionally bet an NBA game, but as pretty consistent bettors of games, we don't do what we don't do a lot of, and I think for good reason at this point, is we don't do a lot of prop bets.
No.
And the reason we don't do a lot of prop bets is, like I say to Andrew all the time, it's like playing Keno. Mm-hmm. It's like Giannis is going to score 27 points tonight. I mean, you can't really know. You don't know what's going on in their personal lives. No. You don't know what their travel was like. You don't know how they slept. And so those bets, however, are available on FanDuel or DraftKings or BetESPN or wherever you want to go to do your wagering. Those bets are available every single day.
And they're not just available for like the Giannis's of the world and the LeBrons and the Lucas. Like these are like you can bet like Terry Rozier, who's wrapped up in this. I mean, he was a rotational player.
Right.
He's probably he was a fringe starter for a lot of his career. But by the time he was wrapped up in this, he's like the 6th or 7th guy in the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of the 200 best basketball players in the world, probably.
Yeah.
But and he's probably got millions of dollars at this point. But he's one of those guys that if you offer him enough money, allegedly, he will do some things in order for you to be able to make money on wagers. And this is how it works. So Rozier, allegedly, again, we're reading the stories the same as you guys are, allegedly, took some money and told people ahead of time that he was going to come out of a game early, and there were prop bets on his unders.
Right.
Like he would be less than 6 rebounds.
Under 12 points or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
So there are, hundreds of players in the NBA, and there's plenty of millionaires in the NBA, most of those guys.
Yeah.
But there are guys that are like him, 7th, 8th, 9th on the bench. And you can do prop bets on them.
Yeah.
I think this is a huge problem for gambling on sports in general. I think it's a huge problem for the NBA because the Tim Donaghy scandal some years ago, 2007. And I think it's a huge problem for the betting houses because they're the ones that put these prop bets out there. They will take a bet on this.
Yeah.
So what do you think going forward this looks like for betting?
So I think that at some point, okay, so we've more or less legalized gambling, and different states have different rules on it. You can't bet in every state, of course.
No.
But in some states, it's not quite as regulated as others. Like, for example, I went to bet on the NFL draft this year,
right,
on FanDuel. Well, it turns out Kentucky has in the gambling regulations, you actually are not allowed to bet on the draft. Some states you are. I think what you're going to see is a lot of states are going to look at these. They're going to look at these prop bets. They're going to start looking at, and especially with I think the NBA, I think the leagues are going to have to do something about this too.
Well, Adam Silver has gone on record and he basically said we want nationalized sports betting, not state by state.
Right.
That way we get one set of rules.
Something does have to happen on the federal level, I think, for this really to get cleaned up. But I mean, it's gambling on sports. It's never going to get cleaned up. Look at all the scandals they've had in Premier League soccer over the years.
Right.
And they're pretty well regulated in Europe on sports betting. But I think especially with the NBA, you're going to see some of these prop bets go away.
I think so too.
There's no reason that you should be able to gamble on whether the second backup guard for OKC is going to come in and score over under 6.5 points in a game. It's just crazy. And some of the other ones too, we don't ever really mess with the prop bets in the NFL, like you said, because it's rolling the dice.
Yeah, I feel like it's rolling the dice.
And it feels to me like if we're going to have a gambling culture that's regulated, but not to the point where it's regulated to death, and is also fun for people, but also takes into consideration that, gambling becomes a problem for a lot of people. And some of those prop bets are part of that. That's a really easy way to get yourself into trouble because you're just chasing. If you're somebody who has a gambling problem, and I'm trying not to be insensitive about people that actually have gambling problems.
Addiction problems
in general. But you can get yourself in trouble in a hurry when you're just chasing after little prop bets here and there. I've never understood why we have, you can go on and bet. There's a World Series Game 5 is on tonight. You can bet pitch by pitch whether there's going to be a ball or a strike. Why do we don't need that? What do we need that for? And in the NBA is probably the easiest for an individual player to impact the outcome of a game.
I completely agree. Either that or a Major League Baseball pitcher.
Major League Baseball pitcher, for sure.
But an NBA player, you're one of 10 on the floor. Mm-hmm. In the NFL,
you're one of 16 or 20 that's going to actually play in the game.
One of 22. Mm-hmm. In MLB, you're one of 18.
Yeah.
But pitchers touch the ball literally every pitch.
Right.
I agree with you that something's going to have to happen. But I heard a radio host say earlier this week that what Chauncey Billups, well, I can't, let me back up one step. I'm just going to, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, Chauncey Billups, who is the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, was arrested by the FBI.
Yeah.
Like,
perp walk. But like they cuffed him and threw him in a car, and they made him do the perp walk. Like
now,
they made an example out of him.
Billups was indicted. There are two commingled, but not necessarily commingled, gambling scandals happening at once.
Two separate stories, yeah.
Chauncey Billups, who is involved allegedly in both of these things.
Okay, so I clear that up for me, because I don't. Is he involved in the gambling and the card game? The illegal
He's
card
involved
games?
in the card game, and here's what the radio host said the other day. Basically, if someone can rig a card game in their home or in a private setting that has a crooked dealing machine, X-ray glasses, or not X-ray glasses, but
the content. Well, X-ray tables.
X-ray tables.
Yeah.
Cameras feeding the NBA players or former NBA players who people want to just be with or whatever, then how can you go to any casino and feel like that the house advantage is what they say it is?
Well, and that's where this is going to have its tendrils in a lot of different areas, because you're right. Once it becomes kind of common knowledge to people that those types of technologies are out there, well, now you're talking about the trust in the legit gambling operations. And also, we know that we know how these illegal games go, right? You're not just talking about, successful businessmen that are worth, a couple $1 million coming in and playing in these games because they get to sit next to an NBA player. We're talking about like big corporate executives,
big millionaires, too. Like not just a few million,
right? Like billionaires,
dozens or hundreds
of millions, billions of dollars. Maybe names that you hear in the news. Maybe at the level of people like maybe not Jeff Bezos or somebody like that. And right. I'm not saying he's involved in this. Let's be very clear. But I'm saying big time people, billionaires that you see in the news, actors and actresses. I mean, we've heard for years and years about people. There was a whole like subplot in Ocean's 11,
right,
where it was like they actually had this like little secret card game where Brad Pitt is teaching them how to play. That's based in reality.
Well, this is tied to the mafia too.
It's their
the card game is.
Yes.
So just to be clear, 6 people were. This is from the New York Times, indicted in the insider betting scheme. Among them were Terry Rozier, an NBA veteran who played the last 2 seasons with the Heat. Damon Jones, who played the NBA from 98 to 09, was later an assistant. 4 of their friends, Eric Ernest, Marvis Fairley, Shane Hennon, and De Niro Laster. Again, that's from the New York Times. They were charged with using insider information about injuries and starting lineups to make fraudulent bets.
Okay.
And then they laundered their winnings in multiple instances between 22 and 2024. And Rozier was actually charged with helping to rig a bet by taking himself out. In the illegal poker scheme, Billups was charged along with more than 24 other people, including 3 of the defendants in the NBA betting case, Jones, Ernest, and Hennon. So that's how they're tied together.
So say that again about Billups here, Rozier.
Rozier was charged with rigging the outcome of a bet.
Okay.
Not by rigging the game, but by rigging his own
performance. And that's where we're talking about.
And that's one instance. So how many other times did he do it?
Well, and that's the question here. That's where, and look, we saw this happen earlier this year. They were looking into Malik Beasley, who plays for the Pistons. He was like removed from the league while the FBI was investigating him. He was up for a contract extension with the Pistons. they finally came back and said, well, actually, we don't have any evidence that you actually did anything. But by the time they did that, Malik Beasley is sitting here over here going, what? So how about my contract guys? Like, he lost millions of dollars doing this. So there's that side of it too, because it's hard to prove this stuff. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what they have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Rozier was actually rigging anything. Now, whether he was involved in the poker games, that's a whole separate case. But was Billups, was he making coaching decisions that were involved in this?
I don't know.
Do we know?
Damon Jones, the reason that he's involved is because he said LeBron James wasn't going to play in a game and told people that.
That's right. Well, and that's interesting because a lot, there's hundreds of people around these organizations that have this kind of information. So if you're just passing this information along because you have it, not because you're necessarily linked to the Genovese family and their operation, their gambling operation, so where's the line? That's where we're going to have some more regulations on this, because it becomes almost like an insider trading kind of thing, where if you're part of an organization, do there have to be more regulations around you? Like, if you're in marketing for the Lakers, but from your buddy that works for the training staff that LeBron's not going to play tonight, well, is that information that you should be allowed to use to make bets in an NBA game yourself? Like, there are a lot of ways that this impacts, not just people like you and me, but impacts all these, like, top to bottom in these organizations and these leagues.
Let me tell you what's worse. Let's say you're the seventh guy at the University of Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're the fringe starter or a rotational player at the University of Southern Illinois, or
the Salukis.
You're at Duquesne, or you're at
Xavier, something,
any of those, where people can actually get to you.
Yeah,
you're a college kid.
Yeah,
I think that is a more frightening scenario, because there's so many more of those players, and they have so much less money than these NBA guys. You and I have talked ad nauseum about what is enough. Chauncey Billups, his career is effectively over.
Yes.
Whether he is convicted is irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, he's not sniffing a job in basketball.
I don't think so. He is a Hall of Fame player. He's a couple of years younger than me. He earned everything that he got on the court. He was a great player, fantastic player. Has earned his head coaching spot, and his career is over. In basketball. So I just don't get it. Like, what is enough?
Well, this is what happens with these. You've got these. We know, we've heard the stories through the years about these guys that are just insanely competitive.
Yeah,
there is no enough.
Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan,
Larry Bird,
notorious.
Yeah, Magic Johnson. I mean, even the biggest, most successful names. Phil Mickelson. Look at how much trouble Phil Mickelson has gotten himself into
with gambling. Charles Barkley.
I mean, Jordan. He was the king of the world in the early to mid '90s, and he still got himself into gambling trouble, betting on card games and betting on golf games and all that stuff, because the insane, the like almost sociopathic drive to win everything is what gets people like Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups in trouble, because they're like, this is another thing that I can win at. It doesn't matter that I already have millions of dollars. I can go in and look like a bad motherfucker in front of, this billionaire that's sitting next to me and these two other athletes and this actor. It's that drive, and that's why you have crime organizations that will do this, and they'll go after these. It's not a mistake that there are athletes involved in this. These are guys, and it's not a mistake who it is. It's guys that have that
who've
drive.
Gotten themselves in trouble with gambling
and who have the history of it.
I think the most prominent example in our lifetime is Tiger Woods. And his problem wasn't necessarily gambling.
No, it wasn't.
But there was never enough.
Nope.
I mean, have you seen the nude pictures of Tiger Woods?
I prefer not to.
I've heard about them. That guy had it all. He's good looking, supermodel wife, had whatever it was physically he wanted to have, and still could not be satisfied.
Middle name is Tripod.
Yes, could not be satisfied. Those are folks that are just not ever going to have enough.
They're just wired differently than us, and that's what the difference is. They don't have fear. They don't have any kind of they don't have an on-off switch. Yeah. It's on, and there's tape over it, and it's on all the time.
If it's ping pong, it's cribbage, it's cards on the plane, it's whatever.
I mean, you watched the documentary, The Last Dance.
Yes.
When Jordan is getting pissed over there's some game that they're playing where they're trying to throw ping pong balls into a cup or something, against the wall, and it's the one security guard wins, and he's all happy about it, and Jordan is over there just fuming, and he cannot stand that this dude in a page jacket is beating him at this game.
So we've got this tendril of enough. We've got this tendril of corruption that could go out to college basketball.
Yeah.
I say college basketball because I think that's the easiest one to manipulate, and it's widely bet on.
And there's so many more games that you can get into.
Dozens of games every night.
Yeah.
Between now and, the end of March, early April.
Well, I saw today that the NCAA either failed to pass or did not put together a regulation that was going to allow college athletes to bet on professional sports, which I think is good because given what's happened here in the last week, there needs to be a lot. People need to look at that a lot more.
Yeah, I think that they flirted with betting, and I say I mean the United States has had this fascination with betting in Vegas until the Supreme Court overturned the ruling that allowed it to go into other states.
Yeah,
and then Vegas went everywhere, and all of a sudden we are seeing now what happens when Vegas goes everywhere.
Yeah, especially when it happens. Especially when kind of the switch gets flipped and the floodgates open. You always have this period where there are going to need to be new regulations in place at some point because for whatever reason, even though we have examples of this happening all over the world, we still tend to open the floodgates without thinking about the things that could happen that have already happened in other places. We need stuff like this. I mean, we had a year ago, we had Shohei Ohtani all of a sudden had $14 million disappeared out of his bank account because his handler lost the money for him.
Right.
And I'm like, come on.
You think yes, I think exactly.
You think he didn't know something fishy was going on there.
And that guy went to prison. And you believe, and I sort of believe it too, that Michael Jordan got shadow banned out of the NBA at the height of his power in 94, 95.
It's shout out to Bill Simmons. This is his theory that this was a super secret suspension.
But you believe it too.
I'm not saying that I believe it to be the truth, but I believe that it is a significant possibility.
Plausible theory.
It's plausible. I mean, given where he was at the time and given the length of time that he was suspended, it was almost exactly 1.5 seasons. There's things there. You can make a circumstantial case.
Look, friends, this is our 12th episode of this podcast. We are enjoying the hell out of it. I'm here to tell you, I look forward to coming on here and just blabbering every week. And the fact that we got engagement was even that much better. We ended up with 140,000 views across all of our platforms over about a month period.
Like a month. Yeah.
Yeah. We're so excited that people have watched and, given us a piece of their mind or whatever. We love the sports gambling. We like betting on the NFL. We like the fact that it's legal, but it does not come without its issues.
No, and that's why we try to mention the 1-800-GAMBLER game of the week to at least bring some attention to the fact that hey, there is if you get yourself into trouble, please call the hotline.
Whatever
hotline you need to
you have in your state, because we kind of have made a joke out of the 1-800-GAMBLER game of the week, but that is. There's some truth in the joke. That is a game that is so bad or so difficult to call that you shouldn't touch it. You shouldn't bet on that.
It's the equivalent of going and playing in the poker game with Scary Terry and Albanian Bruce.
Gosh.
and Flappy and Spook,
I'm
gotta
sorry
report to those guys.
I'm sorry, The Onion. You're going to go out of business because you cannot make this up.
You can't make this stuff up. No. What do we got to give? I think we need to come up with our own nicknames at some point.
Maybe next week.
Blue Billy.
Oh gosh, no. Let's take.
Should we wrap it now?
If you have a comment about what our nickname should be, such as Bad Bill the Better, or somebody called me Grandpa in a comment.
Oh God,
I think that was directed toward me because my beard is white.
Might be, yeah. Well, I fucked my whole beard up this week, so
yeah.
I'm a.
You were this far away from looking Amish.
There was a trimmer guard mishap, and then it all had to be evened out, because you can't just leave it like that. And
no.
Now I'm a yellow rain slicker and hat away from being like a shrimp boat captain.
My gosh. All right. That's it for this week. Thanks again for watching Bet Small, Lose Small, and we will see you next week.